Hey everybody, it's Peter, and in this video we're going to go over the Kawasaki Mule Pro MX EPS True Timber HTC Green Camo Edition side-by-side. It's a very long name for a vehicle that is very popular and works very well for a wide variety of people because it's both a working side-by-side and a pleasure side-by-side. It's a lot of fun. So in this video, I'm going to go over it as in detail as I can, but if I don't cover everything, I want to thank Jim Gilbert's Power Sports here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, because they give me complete access to their vehicle line. And if you have a question that I don't get to, make sure you hit the subscribe button and let me know in the comments what you want to know, and I can bring this back in a future video and answer your comments in the questions in the comments section. So let's get going with the review. So before we dig into the specifics of what this is, let's talk about the basics of it. This is a 60-inch wide side-by-side, so it can still go down many trails. It gives you enough width to do a lot of the work you're doing, and it's quite capable. Specs alone, you can fit 700 pounds just in the cargo bed here alone, 1,200 pounds overall on the vehicle, so very capable. It also tows 1,500 pounds, so capability is absolutely there. This is a dump bed. We'll show you that a little bit later. You've got good, comfortable seating for two with some space between you. You're not jam-packed together, so you've got a good spacious seating area here, and you've got really good quality suspension that gives you both capability on working as well as capability on the trail. So let's start by taking a look at the front end and talk about that capability. So when we talk about capability, we really have to talk about the suspension. And you can see just from looking at this, this has nice suspension design. It has long arms, of course, independent suspension front and rear, and the arms go a long ways in. So you've got over 8.5 inches of travel here and over 9 inches of travel in the back, which is good suspension travel for something that's going to head on the trail, but also very work capable. You've got 25-inch tires here that are 8 inches wide here and 10 inches back in the 10 inches wide in the rear, which gives you a little bit more capability to carry some of that weight as well. And then the real story of capability here involves what you can do with accessories. Now, obviously you can add a winch, you can add a plow. We'll talk about more accessories as we walk through the thing, but you can make this very, very capable just by going through the accessories from the Kawasaki dealer, Kawasaki network, to bring this into something that you can use for all the work you need to do, as well as have the fun that you need to have. So when we talk about capability and we look at the front here, there's something that I think people overlook about the lighting here, and I want to show you the lighting. So we're going to turn on the lights right there. You've got halogen lights right here, and then over there you have your LED lights. And why sort of a amber light versus a white light? Well, first of all, in the summer months and most of the year, people really like the LED lights. It gives you a nice, clean, white light. That white light helps you identify things that you maybe wouldn't see otherwise. So when you're heading down a trail at night, white light is closer to daylight, and it makes it easier to identify what's going on. But then this halogen light is great when you're using this in the winter because the halogen lights create extra heat. So if you're using this for a snow plow or something like that, or just heading down the trail in the winter, these ones will melt that sleet and that snow and that ice right off of it, where the LED lights may not. Now the nice thing is you have the option of using either one as a high beam. So you can go high beam with the halogen lights right there, or you can go high beam with the LED lights. So it kind of gives you a variety of lighting for all seasons. Of course, you can add light bars and other kinds of lighting accessories to this, but you have that flexibility of halogen light when you want it and LED lights when you need it. And of course, you can turn both of them on as well, which just gives you some extra practicality. So if we're going to talk about real capability, we have to talk about the bed back here. You've got a lot of nice features. First of all, you've got a tailgate that folds down here and a good sized bed with a steel diamond plate bed in there. We can take a look at that in a second. The other things that people don't always realize is you've got this rail system all the way across, which you can attach accessories to use various things, but even just to tie down whatever you've got in here, you've got that ability. This rack here comes standard, which is going to, of course, protect you from anything that's packed high in the bed from coming into the driver's environment. You do have the option of getting accessories to put headrests back here. I would wear a helmet when I'm on this vehicle, so it's something that I don't think I would need, but again, if you want the headrest there, you can do that as well. And then of course, this is a dump bed, which means you can disconnect this side here and you can disconnect this side over here very easily. And it is assisted and counterbalanced a little bit, and you can lift that up. That allows you to both service things as well as use this as a dump bed, which makes it super practical. Taking a look inside the bed, you can see a couple things that I really like. You've got tie downs that are really close together here. So again, in addition to having this rail across, you've got specific areas where you can tie things down. There's that diamond plate we talked about, and you've got, of course, the tie downs on both sides. And then the tailgate has some nice features. This is plastic, this is steel, but you have those lips here that have a little bit of a ramp up. So if you're dragging something out of here, it's not getting stuck here. You can kind of drag it over there. It allows water to drain out. It's nice and solid. And you have little cup holders there if you want to set something down and maybe have a lunch or do whatever you want right on the back of this, no problem. So a lot of practicality in the bed here. Take a look at the back. Underneath the bed, you've got a lot of things worth pointing out. First of all, a little bit extra wide tires here on the rear, so 2 inches wider than the front, which gives you that capability. You've got the strong, solid A-arm type suspension, independent rear suspension, which we talked about earlier. And then you have the 2-inch ball, which means you can take, or 2-inch opening here, which means you can take your hitch balls from your truck and use them in here, which is super convenient, and that's built into the frame. So it's not just a little bolt that you're bolting onto the frame and then putting a hitch ball on. You're putting your accessories in here the same way you would put them into your truck or your larger vehicle, which makes some sense to be able to do that. Everything else is nice and clean up here. You've got a little do not touch hot surfaces, but that is a shield between you and the exhaust. So while this does get hot, it's not as hot as touching the actual exhaust. So you've got some extra protection here. Locking differential, all-wheel drive, we're gonna show you all about that as we head into the cab and show you the controls there. Hopping inside, you're going to see a couple things that I really like. You've got good solid doors here. They don't feel real plasticky, although of course they are plastic skinned, but they also open about 90 degrees. So you got a real wide area to be able to get in here. If you're taking a dog along or something like that, you can sort of let them in. They can sit on the floor. They can sit up here with you on the bench. I'm about 6 feet tall, so you can see here, you've got tons of space here. Even with a helmet, there's just all kinds of space. Very, very roomy for a 2-passenger unit. You've got some space between the seats here, as we mentioned, so you can put some stuff here, as well as have a second passenger, and a lot of room. You've got really comfortable seating area, even though it's just a bench seat and it's not sort of those custom bucket seats like in some of the other Kawasaki models. It's a very comfortable environment. You have a tilt steering wheel, which we can show you a little bit later. And then there's the controls in here, which is what I want to get to next. So let's get in a closer view of those now. Before we get to the main controls, I want to show you a control you're going to use all the time, which is a little bit different. Instead of the traditional vehicle style handbrake, you have this system here, which is a turn system, which is your parking brake. So again, pull it to turn it on like that, and it locks in place, but it is a little different style, so I just wanted to show you that. Let's take a look at just above this right now. In this section here, you can see my hand is on the wheel, so everything is easily within reach. You've got your gear shift here, which is a large lever. You can go low gear, high gear, neutral, and reverse right there. Let's turn the key to the on position without starting it up, just to bring everything to life here. You've got your rear differential lock, which we talked about when we pointed out the back. Simple button there to press, and it locks in place. And then you've got your 4-wheel drive, 2-wheel drive button right there. Again, nice and simple, easy to put in place right there as well. We showed you the lights earlier. A single click gives you the low beam. The outside, or the left one here, is the halogen lights. A double click gives you the high beam, so you can always sort of tell that they are on. And same thing with your LED lights there, single click and a double click for the high beam. So very easy to use. You've got sort of pre-set cutouts here for 4 more accessories as you want. There's also a 12-volt port down here. To the right of this, there's a small place to put your little bit of stuff. We'll show you that in just 1 second. There's some cup holders as well, so let's just take a look at that right now. So over here, here's that sort of small kind of opening there. You can set some stuff as you're traveling along. There's a cup holder there. Same thing on the driver's side with actually both of these. We'll show you that in a second. And you have a small glove box in there, which is lockable as well. So you can stick your ownership or other things in there. There's another hatch on the front that we can show you in a second. And then we'll show you the driver's side here as well. Looking through the steering wheel from the center, you can see that same type of area here. Same type of storage area on this side, same type of cup holder here on this side as well. And like I said, that steering wheel does tilt. It comes a long ways down to get out of the way, or sets into any position that you want to be comfortable. So very good adjustment there. Let's take a look at the dash and just see what you have in there. So very familiar Kawasaki dash in these types of units. This is sort of the basic unit that gives you kind of everything you need, nothing you don't. You've got the various warning lights here. EPS is that red light there for electric power steering. If you have any issues with that, that light will come on. Our parking brake's on, we're in neutral, telling me to do up my seatbelt here. You've got a clock on the left, a 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive indicator, because that will actually light when it's actually engaged in 4-wheel drive. So if you press the button to the left of this display and it's not actually showing you that it's in 4-wheel drive, it's just because it hasn't actually engaged yet. So when you see that kind of fill in there, then you know it's actively in 4-wheel drive. And then you've got the fuel gauge here, very clear, easy to read speedometer down there. And in your odometer section, you've got trip A, trip B, and an hour meter as well. So everything you need, nothing you don't. Nice little weatherproof area. You can see this unit was sitting outside earlier. There's water on it, not a problem at all. I mentioned that storage compartment in the front here, so let me just show you how easy that is to get to here. And of course, as I say that, it'll be stuck for me. There we go. Pull that out. You have a little storage area here, which has some waterproofness, more water resistance. This has been sitting out in the weather, and there is no water in here. Although I think if you were to take it in muddy off-road situations, you'd have to be a little aware that water could get in here. There is a little tiny drain hole on both sides here, but you do have enough space to stick various valuables, lunch, whatever you want, some extra things in there. If you don't want to put it in the bed or the cab, you've got a little space right there. A little bit of coolant service right here as well, which also allows you to just access it. So super simple to reach. Before I go too far, I want to make sure I point out this camo stuff, the camo design that we have here. It is a really nice, real tree type camo. It really shows the oak leaves and other things in various stages. There's green and brown oak leaves, the sticks and that kind of thing. It is a very nice looking camo, and it's actually my favorite look out of all of the designs here. Rather than a regular paint job, I think this looks really, really sharp. So before we get into who this is really for, let's just talk about a couple things that can really make it right for you. There are so many accessories for the Mule lineup within the Kawasaki line that you can kind of equip it any way you want. You can soft close in this cab. You can hard close it in with hard doors, hard walls. You can get the windshield. You can get this comes with this plastic roof. You can get a steel roof. You can close in the back. You can get a heater installed in this to keep you warm in the winter. Of course, we talked about plows, winches, other things on the front, light bars. There are so many things, including a number of accessories for the cargo bed here, that you can use to make this yours. So who is this for? Well, this is for all kinds of people, but why would you want this one over some of the other Mules? Well, there was the Mule Pro SX that I've already done a video on, which was the roughly 50 inch, I think it's 52.5 inch, 52.6 inches actually, is the smaller version. That is a 2-passenger that is almost ATV size, and that's an option for you for the 2-passenger. For me, I quite like this size. It's not huge in the sense that it's just a really, really wide thing. I brought it into this section here through a double man door rather than an actual vehicle bay. So it fits into smaller areas. It goes through tighter trails, that kind of thing, but it still gives you enough space. And I think that's a real nice thing. Same thing if you're putting a plow on the front. You've got the width you need, but it's not as wide as a vehicle. And the bed back here, it's again, the space you need, but not as big as your truck bed or something like that. So it's kind of that in-between perfect unit that is very value priced when you consider what you're getting for this, something that can take you out on the trails, something that can do the work you need it to do, and you can justify it for many, many reasons. So is it right for you? Well, that's for you to decide. Let me know in the comments what you think about this unit. And again, if you have questions, there's 2 options for you. One, you can let me know in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them, but you can also swing by here at Jim Gilbert's Power Sports where they have all kinds of Mules. You can see the lineup side by side, compare them side by side. You can compare different vehicles, different widths, different capabilities, different accessories, all of them. You can see them for yourself. You can sit in them. You can see which one's best for you in person. That's one of the great things about being able to have access to the product line here at Jim Gilbert's Power Sports here in Fredericton, New Brunswick. So thanks everybody for watching. And remember, if you have questions, let me know. And if you want to see them in person, swing by Jim Gilbert's. Thanks for watching, everyone.